Hey everyone, a nerd named Mark here, and it's time to go over episode 5 of King-Ohger. Before I get into that, you know what's really cool about these first 5 episodes? And I don't know if all Sentai's like this, the ones I have watched kind of aren't, but like you could cut the recap out in the preview for the next episode. It was a little bit of, making transition magic in your video editing. You could put these 5 episodes into one movie. And because of the way they flow so well together, kind of call it like, you know, Rise to the Throne or something like that. Like, because I actually did that because I was bored and I actually had it rendered while I was sleeping. And then I checked it out and I was like, this actually did work as a movie, and it's actually pretty freaking cool. Um, so this episode obviously is going to be focusing on Rita. The cool thing is from the differences between this uh episode and the other ones is just how different this kingdom is, and I love that so much. It's ice. It's giving me Game of Thrones vibes from some of the stuff, but before I get into some of the information of that, I did bring up how they kind of the episodes flow into each other. So at the end of the other episode, this one begins with Kira being flown by Papillon, like the mecha, and he's just like chained up dangling, and he's all like, laughing at this. He's like, "Is this my punishment?" And Rita's even like, "No, this is transportation." And Gokhan is, I love the way it looks. Like I love, like it's not as from a grand scale of like size of the kingdom. It definitely seems like it's the smallest, but this is like their their justice kingdom, their courthouse, their prison, and everything. So it kind of makes sense. So we kind of figure out Rita's role and everything while Dabowski and Rackley's are talking. We find out that Rita is the International Court's Supreme Justice. So they weren't just doing research; that they're actually the judge. They are the supreme. So I thought that was pretty cool. Uh, and we also find out that Rackley's the Richard. Hey, that's a dick joke, by the way, because Dick is short for Richard. He's searching for the remaining two greater guardian spirits, and that one of them is beneath a bed of ice. And I'm like, oh, so there's obviously one at Gokhan. Um, I find it intriguing that they also had, when he looked up, they had the same kind of mural on the ceiling that Death Narok has on that stone tablet in the Bugnarok little area where they hang out, their little kingdom. So I was like, interesting. Like, were these just laying around painted, or were they paint? Like, I'm curious more about this whole greater guardian spirits. Uh, One of my favorite things, because we are learning about everyone, is the interactions between Rita and Gira. Especially when Rita's like, "Hey, you stole the Osier caliber, and you were trying to invade other countries." And Gira's like, "Yes, I did." Haha. He's in his evil king tyrant form, and he's like, "Well, you might as well return me to Shugodan." And Rita's like, "No, you're being tried here. Like, this is where you're staying." And then he just backtracked on all of it and was like, no, no, like, and I thought that was really cool interaction between the two because Rita is so like factual based, just like, no, just so um there's really no time wasted with the Bugnarok showing up, but we got these cool scenes of Rita's transformation, beating the brakes off the Bugnarok really quickly. Like they really built up Rita as like, hey, like you're not gonna get too much information on them personally, but look at how like badass they are. And one of my favorite things is after all this, as Rita's walking up the stairs, does like a little whole speech introducing the kingdom, and was like, those who are uninvited cannot enter, those who are unforgiven can never leave. This is the prison at the end of the world. Welcome to Gokhan. And I was like, the shot of Rita walking up the stairs when saying that, zooming in on the face, I was like, that is badass. But one thing I noticed, there was no OP in this episode. I was like, oh, my Rita's such an interesting character because they're presented as very, following the laws, this and serious in the investigation. Then Rita goes in a room and locks it with at least like 15 locks, sits down with this big, huge stuffed creature called Muffin. And my favorite thing was having a conversation with Moffin. But Rita's doing the voice as well. And it's very entertaining to the point where you see Rita's retainer Morphonia like listening in at the door, laughing. And I should point out, Premium Bandai, we're going to get a 1-to-1 scale Moffin. Hmm? Should do it. You know you're going to do it. Because merch, prints itself, I'd possibly think about buying one. Uh, I'm going to say this. I know I've been simping for Hemino. I know it could be a bit much if you watch the Toku Tonic Shift stream on Zio Agido's channel every Friday. You know, I don't hide my opinions and my thoughts on Himeno. But Morphonia, my glasses, carrying those books, the hair, I was like, she better not get too much screen time because Himeno's gonna have some competition now. Just throwing that out there. There was a scene with Death Rock and his subordinate. I always forget that one's name. I'm gonna learn the names of them eventually. Where they also talk about how the location of the second grader guardian, the soul little thing is located there as well, and they would talk about the location of it. And his little subordinate says that a little bug told him, and I'm like, a little bug? I was like, was this little bug maybe, I don't know, coming from the Castle of Rackley's? Is that? Because once again, even in this episode, there's some convenient timing, and I'm just like, you might as well just flat out give us that information that he's working with them already. But I know they're not going to do that yet because we have to finish the Gira arc and learning about what's going on with him and why he can use the Oja Caliber, and obviously getting everyone on board because it's still introductories for everyone. And we learn more about the interaction of all the different rulers like Yanma and this and that when Rita questions them. My favorite is Yanma because, Rita's literally like, he couldn't have stole or got into the sword without how you must have helped him. And he's like, you can't steal or crack AAA security. He's like, the only way this can happen is if he has royal authority. And obviously Rita's getting frustrated with this investigation because it's not as cut and dry of a case. And we see Rita get frustrated and scream to the shock of everyone. And even I'm like, okay, so we know, like, there's something more to Rita's personality and character that, like, we're not, like, and I'm glad we're not getting everything all in this episode. I like long-term character, like, reveals and growth and seeing how they interact. I started putting 2 and 2 together because when she's talking to Himeno, my sweet, innocent, angelic nurse / doctor who can do no wrong, mind you. Himeno's an angel. And Rita even asks if she has any skilled doctors, and Himeno's like, I am. And I'm sitting there like, why would Rita need a doctor? And even things like the Dabowski stuff, like we don't get so much about how he truly is because he just plays up on the rumors he heard, not really giving any information. And one of the best scenes of just showing how ruthless Rita could be is the interaction with Rackley's, because even then he's more concerned with the punishment, and he's like, yours could be executed, right? And he's back talking, and even Rita's like, listen, that's not for you to decide, don't concern yourself with that. And he even starts back talking and says if Gira goes free, he may go after Rita's country. And we get a slap. Rita walks up, taking the glove off, just slaps the face, and then plays it off that there was a mosquito on Rackley's. So now I'm just like, okay, I like that slap. That was good. You kind of see, like, Rita does not fear Rackley's or any of them. Rita upholds justice and the laws. And I like that we have that morally straight character right now. Like, they don't compromise the laws or anything like that. They are on this, like, boom, singular focus, which always plays for good storytelling and character growth when they come into a moral conflict. So the reason why I started putting 2 and 2 together, she's Rackley's with a mosquito. mosquitoes draw blood. Talking to Himeno, needing a doctor. Then we see while Gira's being held in a cell, uh, Morphonia plucks some hair from him. So I'm like, are we getting a DNA test? We're getting a DNA test. We definitely are. And we also find out a little bit more backstory about Gokhan, because we find out that everyone in Gokhan is either a criminal or someone who used to be. And I'm like, okay, okay, this is getting me on. Like, I like this. This is, I want to learn more. And we have a trial. All of our leaders from the different kingdoms are there, even Rackley's. And the cool, like, we find out Gira's innocent. Of course he is. We've seen it. He's not, like, Rita interviewed all these different citizens. They all hyped up Gira, saying he's so nice. He said I was cool, this and that. And then also, the rainbow jewelry, or whatever it's called, actually finally came into the plot more than him wanting people to eat it. We find out there's no freaking history of it except for over 10 years ago. And it was in the royal palace, and we get a flashback of a young Rackley sitting with Gira as he eats it. And we find out that Gira's full name is Gira Hasty, and he's the younger brother of Rackley's. And I was like, okay, this makes sense then. Like, obviously that was the easy, not cop out, but that was the easy story point to go with. And Rackley's is big mad, like real big mad. And even warns Rita, he's like, I told you, if you set Gira free, you're making an enemy of me. And we got one of the best lines from Rita towards Rackley's. They said, listen, the law is a spear that slays kings and a shield that defends the people. And I was like, yep, Rita ain't fucking around. And I talked about timing. Rackley's leaves, and of course the Bugnarok are there. They're there. They're freaking digging some holes. They're looking for the treasure. And we finally got our group transformation sequence. Before that, we saw them all walking in slow-mo together. And I was like, that is cool. And I was like, we knew that was going to happen. And obviously, even Dabowski's just like, he's like, I knew this moment would come. And all of them in unison looking at him were just like, called him a liar. Because let's face it, I feel like he's still going to be like on the outskirts of the group because of how he was in the last episode, being so deceptive and everything else. A lot of the fighting was really good. I'm getting the camera cuts and the slow-mo with the overhead shots are going to get old real fast for me. Not that they don't look good. It's just, if you get the same stylizing repeating over and over again, it kind of just doesn't seem as cool after a bit, because it's like, I've seen this. Giant monster shows up. We get King-Ohger, giant mecha. I still love that they're doing the hybrid of CG and actual like suit acting fighting. They were even all butting in on Gira and using the King-Ohger for different attacks. There's even like an infighting scene, which I thought was very entertaining. And then all their soul gem thingies start glowing, and they went into this like cool new final attack because they're all in unison, and it was god tier. I was like, damn, this is great. I love this. And everything about this was enjoyable. And then it ends, we find out that Death Narok, second in command, did actually show up while they were all distracted. Morphonia has a little bit of battle damage, and they did find the soul gem of the second guardian that was hidden there. Even Rita was like, wait, so there was treasure here? And I was like, bravo. This was a great episode. These 5 episodes have kept me so engaged and so intrigued, and I'm looking forward. Like, I can't wait to continue to watch and see where this continues to go. I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, that's it for the review. Great episode. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the episode. Don't forget the subscribe button, like the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.